One of the things we've chosen to prioritize here on the homestead this year is a big pond back in our lawn area. And this blew the budget, unfortunately. Also, fortunately, I'm really excited to get it done. But what that has meant for the perennial beds is that we're having to be a little bit resourceful with filling these gardens that we're still trying to develop. We've only been at these gardens for about 4 years now, some of them a lot less than that. And so we're continuing to add in annuals. I've got a bunch of seeds started in here, but we need perennials. We need those beautiful flowers and plants that will come back year after year. So we're gonna go get creative today. We're gonna go see what we can divide, dig up, maybe what has self-sown that we can transplant to a different area of the garden. But first, we're gonna head to the courtyard. And I'm doing what I like to call shopping for plants. I've got some beds in there that could just use a little bit of fleshing out with what I have in here right now. So I've got some hollyhocks and some delphinium, some lupin. I've got some bulbs that still need to go in the ground, like some beautiful lily bulbs, lily of the valley. So we've got a lot of stuff that we can shop from right here as we're sort of fleshing out these beds on a budget. It can take a little bit of deciphering and knowing what you're looking for, but once you start to recognize what some of your seedlings look like, you can tell if they've self-seeded from the previous year. A perfect example of this is this bee balm that I planted a couple of years ago. Now you can see the color and texture of this leaf in all of these little seedlings right here because I let everything go to seed so that it would do this. Now I want this area to fill in with bee balm, so I don't want to take too much. But I'm gonna dig up some of these little babies and move them up to the courtyard where there's no bee balm. It's like getting a free plant. You have to be a little bit more patient because it's not gonna be as big or as quick to establish as something from the nursery. But if you can be patient for just, 6 months longer than you'd like to be, you can get a lot of flowers for free this way. I'm not really sure what happened here, but I can see a ground cover viola, self-seeded bee balm, some kind of Irish moss, and lady's mantle all wadded into one spot here. So I think I'm gonna dig out this lady's mantle. And maybe, because I know the bee balm will get, it gets into these big bushes and it'll just choke everything else out if I don't. So because bee balm is kind of dominant already, I think we'll just go ahead and transplant these while we're here. Now that we've sort of tended to this space, we can always take more. There's a lot of little bee balm seedlings here. But everything should have the proper space that it needs to really thrive. I love a really full, wild garden, but that takes a little bit of time to get. It takes some self-seeding and it takes a little bit of attention so things don't completely crowd each other out and kill each other out basically. So I'm not really sure how this lady's mantle got here. I might have planted it there for all I know, but I think it'll be a lot happier somewhere else. Once you start to open your eyes to all the varieties around you that you can divide from, even if you don't have an established garden yet, go to somebody's garden who is established, who is happy to share their little plant babies with you. Lamb's ear is another really good one. You can use it as a natural toilet paper too, just saying, but it makes itself really easy to divide in the springtime. It's perfect time of year to do it when the weather is not too hot, because it gives those plants a chance to send roots down and establish themselves before they're stressed by the summer sun. This can be a hard step to take, especially if you're new to this, but you do kind of gotta be aggressive. You gotta be confident and just go for it, because you wanna get a good chunk of that plant that has some roots on it, that has some sort of start we can go with. So here we go. Now this might not look like much, but as long as you have some roots on this plant, you're going to be able to transplant it to somewhere else in your garden. So this little section here will be enough to give me a new lamb's ear somewhere in the courtyard. And while we're here, a great ground cover that I have planted a lot of places is strawberries. And this is a variety that doesn't really set fruit, but it gives you those beautiful strawberry leaves and it will crawl all over the ground. And I would love to take some of this into the courtyard for free. This variety is so prolific. So all I gotta do is find a little section, get some root with it. So we've got some good sections with leaves there, and we've got some root, and now we have free ground cover. These beds in the courtyard have been here for a couple of years now, and they're fairly established. We've got some really big evergreens, we've got roses, a lot of bulbs coming up right now, so I'm gonna have to dig carefully. But what I'd like to do is take these perennials that we were just able to grab up from around the gardens and just sort of flesh these beds out a little bit. I always try to tie things together. So if this bed has a little lamb's ear, it's nice to sort of fade it out as you go away, or carry the bulbs through each bed so it has this cohesive feel to it. This part of gardening really is like painting with your eyes closed in a way. Like, you try to remember the best you can where certain flowers are and where things are gonna come up, and inevitably you're gonna get things wrong, but the nice thing about flowers is you can always move them around. So there was a big shrub in here last year that I took out because I didn't love it. There was also mint in here that got really invasive, of course, so I took that out. So I know there's some bare spots in this bed particularly, so I'm gonna plant what we just picked out today right in here. When I'm building in a bed like this and fleshing it out, I love to think about what's gonna be the tallest. And what I'm transplanting, the tallest thing is gonna be these beautiful Mona Lisa lilies. So we'll go ahead and start with them. Now you can get lilies from the nursery that are already potted and beautiful looking, but you're gonna pay a lot more money for those. So starting with bulbs, like I said, it takes a little bit longer, but you can get a lot more for your money. They look like garlic, don't they? I'm actually gonna leave these bulbs uncovered while I tuck everything else in, because it helps me to sort of visualize what I'm doing here. I know I have a hydrangea, I know I've got some rhubarb coming up, so let's tuck in our beautiful little free ladies mantle. It doesn't look like much now, but it will be beautiful very soon. Oh, we got lots of worms. Next we have our little viola here. And our free little bee balms.